Hi there, I'm Amy Caruso, Head of Collateral Initiatives at ISDA, and thank you for checking out our recorded overview of our initial margin outreach survey. So this is going to give you some tips and reminders. Maybe you participated in the Phase 5 and survey last year as a sell-side firm, or maybe you're new to this and you'd like to go over some of the details. So that's great. We appreciate it. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at acaruso@isda.org. And please do, just go through the survey and see how you can automate this process. We're going to be kicking it off on a monthly basis starting in January and probably until like May, June. Then we'll go to biweekly. Now, the key to this outreach survey is to collect information from Phase 6 newcomers and also their counterparties. So some of the questions are kind of triggered off of your first question, and I'll take you through that. So based on what are you disclosing to your counterparties or what your counterparties are disclosing to you. So whether you're a Phase 6 entity or you're a counterparty. Now, we're looking for information about operational readiness, documentation, KYC, and onboarding so that we can help support a very successful September 2022 UMR implementation. This information will help us kind of really hone in on, are there any issues, and if so, where we can direct resources. So let's get started on the survey. I'm going to share my screen. And what I'm going to show you is the draft version. So once you receive the email, whether it's beginning in January or maybe you're looking at this later on in the year, it should be very similar. So we just have a simple overview asking for your input. Again, the more firms who participate, the better. And we're looking for information regarding the volume of impacted relationships and the corresponding progress towards completion of CSA documentation, custodial arrangements, and operational readiness. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. So what we're first going to ask is, what is the best description that applies to your institution? Now, if you're a buy-side firm or a sell-side firm, Phase 6, that will trigger some different questions coming up. If you're a Phase 1 through 5 firm, you'll be answering questions as if those Phase 6 entities are disclosing to you. So it's very important that you choose this correctly. Now, for a buy-side firm, we're going to ask a little more information about what type of institution you are. Maybe you're an insurance company and an asset manager. If you choose asset manager, we're also going to ask if you manage separately managed accounts. So this is where an end client may be responsible for their documents, or you may be responsible for them as the asset manager. Now, going down further, we ask what region applies to your institution. So we'll just choose global here. And because we know that this email distribution may be going to multiple people at your firm, and that's okay. We understand that sometimes you might have one person handling this, or you might work on it as a team. We can use distribution emails, so that's fine if you'd like to send it to us. But we do ask that you just put in your name here just to make sure that there's no duplication, because I have had that in the past and I've cleared it up pretty quickly. But this information, again, is aggregated and anonymized, so you don't have to worry about it going any further on an individual basis other than me. And frankly, I look at it at an aggregated level as well. So because the first question was a buy-side firm answering, this is going to be number of legal entities which you have disclosed to one or more of your counterparties. That will be subject to regulatory IM as of Phase 6. If you chose a Phase 1 through 5 firm there, you would have number of legal entities which are being disclosed to you. So there's the difference in some of these questions. Now, please note, if you're an asset manager coordinating separately managed account documentation to counterparties and our custodians, please include those legal entities in this count. But if if you have an arrangement that's like investment only and there's no documentation responsibilities and the underlying clients or underlying principals are coordinating their documentation, do not include that in this count. If anything, tell those folks about this survey, pass them along to me, and we'll get them added in. That will be great. So make sure that all legal entities within a consolidated group are included. A good example is if you had an insurance company and then had multiple subsidiaries. If you are, there's that example, hedge funds as well, are multi-entity banking groups. And then for multi-managed or separately managed accounts, count the number of underlying principals. So if you have if you have 10 underlying principals, but maybe you're managing to different investment strategies, we'll get to that. But here's where you have the number of underlying principals, so legal entity. You have to answer these questions. So I'm going to say 10 legal entities. Now we go on to the section around counterparty relationships. So how many of those 10 legal entities, for example, are facing dealer counterparts? And let's just make this simple for math's sake and say all those 10 have 3 each. So we have 30. But then we ask, which are you preparing for the Phase 6 implementation? Now, some of these counterparty relationships, you may anticipate not needing to prepare for initial margin documentation because they might be well underneath the 50 million initial margin threshold. So let's say 10 legal entities, 3 counterparties each, but maybe, so that would be 30, but say 10 of them are not preparing. So we're going to put 20 relationships here. And then how many of these counterparty relationships preparing for Phase 6 implementation are separately managed accounts? And again, this ties back to if you are, as the asset manager, are negotiating those documents. Otherwise, don't include them in this calculation. Now, another tip here is if you've already negotiated an umbrella agreement, maybe you had a handful of SMAs that were in scope for Phase 5, and you're planning on just adding those on to an umbrella agreement. Although the negotiation process has been taken care of, we still want to track how many of them are documented. So include those here. Just for sake of simplicity, I'm just going to put 0 here, but hopefully you have all those explanations for your SMAs. Now, which you are not preparing. So again, we had 30 legal entities, 3 counterparties each. That would be 30 counterparty relationships. 20 are preparing, 10 are not preparing. 10, not 19. And then we'll just put 0 here. Again, this is just to enter so we can keep going. Now, in respect to the Phase 6 relationships in your previous response, so 20, the cumulative answers to these 3 questions should coincide with that 20. So here we're asking about KYC process and the onboarding process with custodians, not including documentation. We will ask that. So this is simply, as a pledging party, have you completed the custodian KYC process and onboarding process? So out of 20 relationships, let's say 15 have been completed, 5 are in process, and 0. So that's 20. The next section is around CSAs and CSDs. So again, these 3 questions should add up to 20. Here we'll just do 15 again have been completed, 5 are in process, and 0 have not started. And here we have the ACA documents or the equivalent of those with your custodian as a pledging party. So again, we'll just do 15, 5, and 0. And these may not all be the same numbers for your ACA documents and your KYC. I'm just using those as examples. Now, if you plan to use a tri-party provider from a pledging party perspective, please answer the following questions. Do not include any tri-party eligible collaterals if only receiving from counterparties via a tri-party provider. We'll get to that. So, number of relationships as a pledging party that have completed. Now, you may not have all 20 of those relationships using the tri-party structure. So these 3 questions may not add up to 20, and that's fine. So we'll say 10 have been completed, 2 are in process. So in total, you're only planning on using tri-party as a pledging party for 12 of those relationships. And it might be some combination. You might be doing it for all. Now, the next question is about receiving. So most of your counterparties, if you're a phase 6 entity, most of your dealer counterparties are likely to use a tri-party arrangement. And having those eligible collateral schedules set up, which ISDA has a template structure that you can use for tri-party eligible collateral schedules that can be very handy for your negotiation process. And when we say completed, in all of these documents, we mean negotiated and executed or signed. So I'm going to guess that all 20 of those relationships are going to be receiving via tri-party. So let's say 12 have been completed and 8 are in process. And here we have the last question around operational readiness. And this includes your margin calculation, your margin call communication, collateral allocation and affirmation, and collateral settlement, both pledging and receiving with your counterparty, and also settlement and reporting with your custodian, whether it's tri-party or third party. So please count the pledger's custodian operational readiness and the secured party's operational readiness as one relationship for this. So we had some questions that were specific to pledging and receiving. This is the whole kit and caboodle, right? That you can both pledge and receive with your counterparty and with your custodian or custodians. So let's say that 10 out of the 20 relationships have completed their operational readiness. That is the last question, except for our participant agreement, which just reviews our confidentiality of data, and then you'll submit. But thank you again for reviewing this. Please call me at 646-207-2025 if you have any questions. It might be easier to email me if you have any screenshots or any special requests. And my email address is acaruso@isda.org. And again, we appreciate you being involved with this survey, and we look forward to providing you aggregated and anonymized detailed results.